From coffee to shampoo to hand sanitizer, First Stop Shop is your one-stop, conveniently located at the nearest Delta Petroleum gas station.
Delta Petroleum, serving the Caribbean.
Hello everyone, good morning. It is Thursday, 25th April. The morning is a beautiful one. My name is Mervyn Hanley and I am here with you this morning with THG News Today. We're here Monday to Friday, 6 a.m. Atlantic Standard Time. Folks, if you have not as yet, I ask you humbly and I encourage you to subscribe to our channel. Just tap or click on the subscribe tab right there and you're good to go. The news this morning, of course, is brought to you with the kind sponsorship of Carl & Sons on St. Maarten. They're always logged on to THG Network, THG News Today. Good morning to you. Let me also say good morning to the folks at Delta Petroleum. I know some of the staff members at Delta Petroleum. They are logged on right now, listening to our news. Delta has always been a willing participant to sponsor and to support what we do here at THG Network. So I want to say thank you to them for their sponsorship, their continued support, and for believing in our content and product. And I encourage all of you out there where Delta Petroleum is located to buy some gas today, okay? Buy some gas today from Delta Petroleum. A matter of fact, I will try to get a few Delta vouchers, Delta Petroleum vouchers to give away right here on THG News Today. Also, our news is sponsored by Feeza's there in Charlestown, opposite the public market for your favorite ice cream. And they have what you call the bus-up shot. I have to ask them why they have that name. What's that name? You know, it's not just them. It's that's what they offer, the bus-up shot, but it's pretty delicious. And also for rotis as well. So that's Feeza's, definitely the spot there in Charlestown, Nevis. Now, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, let's get right to our news and more. Yesterday afternoon, the Honorable Prime Minister, Dr. Terence Drew, he held a roundtable with members of the media. And I must say that I am pretty impressed with the kind of dialogue between the Prime Minister and the media personnel in that setting. Lots of questions were asked and he said a lot. And so I will just list some key takeaways that we have picked up from yesterday's round table. The Prime Minister spoke about his recent trip to the Middle East. The PM made significant strides, according to him, in securing a memorandum of understanding to start an official study for geothermal as a source of energy on Nevis. The Prime Minister took the opportunity to remind nationals that according to Premier Brantley, who's also leader of the opposition, who was a part of the former administration, that's the Team Unity government, he said that the former Prime Minister and the Minister of Finance, that's the Honorable Timothy Harris, according to the Premier and Dr. Drew, he reminded folks yesterday that the former Prime Minister refused to sign off on funding from financial institutions as it relates to the geothermal project. The Prime Minister, he was very intentional, wanting to remind Nevisians that it was the former Prime Minister who did not sign off. And basically, Prime Minister Drew is saying, here I am, 2 years in government. And for the first time, then they're cooperating with Nevis. They're working together, rather, with the Nevis Island Administration regarding geothermal energy. And this is a memorandum of understanding. However, Nevis, under the CCM-led government, in the past and over the years since they took office, would have spent millions and millions of dollars to get geothermal going. So I am just a bit confused because, so with this memorandum of understanding, that will mean it's not an agreement. It's just a memorandum of understanding. They'll come down. They'll do all the checks. They'll do all sort of things. Will take probably up to a year, whatever the case may be. So what happened to all the millions and millions and millions of dollars that was spent before? So they're gone for nothing, just gone for naught, because we're starting over. So all this talk about geothermal and who's going to flip the switch back in 2017. So what do we have now? It's 11 years we've been spending money on geothermal, Nevis that is. So now we're starting from scratch. Back to the takeaways, Prime Minister Drew also announced that the government is looking to to get a concessionary loan from the Saudis for $20 million US for the said geothermal project. Now, during the said trip, the Prime Minister met with private investors. He met with the owner of SeaWorld, I think it is, in the UAE, and who will be making a trip to St. Kitts to look at potential investments. Prime Minister Drew also hosted a luncheon with potential investors who are interested in building a performing arts center on St. Kitts. Overall, a very successful trip, according to the Prime Minister, especially as it relates to the CBI and geothermal. So it was a working trip for the Prime Minister. And of course, we know that on that trip, that said trip, we heard about whether it's a loan agreement or whatever that was. I think it was $40 million. As far as generators for Skellig, that happened while he was on that trip, making sure that all was in place. And then he was able to sign the memorandum of understanding regarding geothermal for Nevis. Of course, Nevisions, Mr. Prime Minister, I hope that Nevisions will be able to see what's in this memorandum of understanding. Yeah, I do not think it should just be for the Prime Minister and the Premier and perhaps the Attorney General to look at. Nevisions and Kittitians, they need to know, I believe, what's a part of this understanding that the parties have. Yeah. The Prime Minister spoke about water. He said that the final stage of testing the water in Keyon, and Keyon, of course, has been a popular trending topic as it relates to water. And he said soon the people of Keyon will have a steady supply of water. The PM made mention that in the last Labour administration, that the Bede company was contracted to supply water to Keyon. But Team Unity came in 2015, and under the new Team Unity administration, the Prime Minister went back again to remind folks that it was Premier Mark Brantley on his radio show, who was a part of the Unity government, who said that this arrangement, this contract with Bede, was stopped because of one minister. But now his government will resolve this once and for all. So the Prime Minister is basically saying that this could have been dealt with a long time ago. The people of Keyon could have had water a long time ago. But one minister in cabinet, one former minister of the former government, he said no way, and he blocked it, according to actually the Premier of Nevis on his Wednesday night program on The Mark. Another key takeaway, the electricity at the JNF hospital, that has been trending talk on St. Kitts and Nevis, that there was this blackout and how there were patients, sick patients at the hospital and all that crazy stuff. And only to find out that it was a test. It was an exercise that they were carrying out. And the Prime Minister informed residents and citizens of St. Kitts and Nevis and assured them that there were no lives at risk and no one was in ICU, and said that the fake news and propaganda must stop. And he made sure mention that there was no crisis at the JNF hospital. Now, I'm sure they have it at nights. Yes, I've experienced these exercises during the daytime, but I know when they have these exercises, you don't know. We won't know that. They're not going to say, oh, by the way, guys, we're going to have a fire drill right now, so get ready to run. They don't say that. Everything will happen unexpectedly just to see how folks would respond and what they need to do to improve. And that's basically what took place on Tuesday night, I believe, on St. Kitts. And it caused some confusion and was a very hot topic on social media where people were attacking the government. But of course, Skellig came out, the electricity company came out, the health officials came out, and they said, listen, no, it wasn't like that. This was all planned. And the reaction they got is what they expected, right? Because of course it's an exercise, and this is the way, this is what will happen when these exercises, when they take place. So, yeah. And the talk around the table, the round table, came about stem cell research and all sorts of medical researches. And the Prime Minister announced that there will be a legal framework that will be put in place for medical research to be done on St. Kitts and Nevis. And there you had again, someone mentioned, the media was speaking about a concern over at Friars Beach, Friars Bay, and the Prime Minister responded by saying all beaches on St. Kitts and Nevis are public, and if there is private land close to the beach, there must be access to the beach. It is illegal for anyone to block access to any beach in the Federation. And one of the most important things that came out of the roundtable meeting as we wrap up the takeaways, Crime on his return from his government business trip, Drew met with his national security team to get the latest update on the crime situation. And he said even though he was overseas, he was kept abreast on the latest on what's happening. And he said that the cabinet met with security officials to discuss strategies, and they will report back to cabinet in 2 weeks with an update. He said that he's taken crime seriously, his government has taken crime seriously, and measures have been put in place, short term, middle term, long term, you name it, as far as trying to curb the crime situation on the Federation of St. Kitts and Nevis. And speaking of crimes, this is in St. Kitts. Jamari Herbert charged with murder. The police have arrested and charged 32-year-old Jamari Herbert of John Street, Newtown, Upper Monkey Hill, St. Peter's, St. Kitts. How many addresses does this guy have? Okay, for the murder of 38-year-old Elston Estridge of Connery Village. The criminal act was committed on April 18th between 1:30 p.m. and 2 p.m. on John Street in Newtown. Mr. Herbert was charged on April 23rd at the Keon police station. So that is very good that we are getting the criminals off the streets and in jail and where they belong. I still believe in maybe we need to bring, people, some of you may not agree with me and some will say, yes, Mervyn, I agree with you. But sometimes when I think of all this crime situation in the Federation and all across the Caribbean, some countries, maybe we need to bring back hanging, right? That's probably what we need to do. But anyway, that's another topic for another day. We now look at news from St. Lucia. St. Lucia's Citizenship by Investment program has come under scrutiny following reports that Prime Minister Honorable Philip J. Pierre has allegedly been given a 10-day ultimatum to meet with US-based attorneys and representatives from St. Kitts and Nevis's MSR Media. Can I just be frank and blunt? Anytime I hear the name MSR Media and associated with St. Kitts and Nevis, I want to throw up. I get angry and I can't even go through. If you only had an idea of this company and MSR Media, they I don't know, wherever they go, it just seems like there is always something with this company and its founder or owner, always something. Anyway, let me continue. So this time it's St. Lucia. This reported meeting is shrouded in speculation concerning its legitimacy and the circumstances surrounding the notification. Prime Minister Pierre has publicly refuted any such meeting, suggesting that detractors are deliberately casting doubts to undermine the integrity of the island's citizenship investment program. Let's get this report, which I'm reluctantly going to have you will have you listen to right now, because I really don't want to talk about MSR Media, but this is making the waves all around the Caribbean, and what these people are trying to do, it's like a shakedown. It's like they're trying to just shake down ministers and governments across the Caribbean, and this is not cool. And Caribbean prime ministers may need to come together and say to hell with MSR Media. I'm serious, because everywhere they go, it's always something. And probably that's what needs to be said. To hell with them. Prime ministers need to come together. And I hope, Prime Minister Drew, that you are seeing what he's doing to your colleague, that this company is trying to do to your colleagues in St. Lucia and other Caribbean countries. Let's hear from Choice TV St. Lucia, and we'll be right back.
Tension has risen for St. Lucia's Citizenship by Investment program. According to media outlets such as Caribbean News Global, Prime Minister Honorable Philip J. Pierre has been given 10 days to meet with St. Kitts and Nevis's MSR Media, along with their US-based attorney, to address the ongoing international concerns and potential criminal activities undertaken by stakeholders within CIP-related entities and organizations such as Caribbean Galaxy, a leading figure for St. Lucia's Citizenship by Investment market. As of now, speculation exists regarding potential lawsuits and legal action against Caribbean countries, such as St. Lucia. However, Prime Minister Pierre maintains his belief in the ethics of the initiative, revealing that he has no knowledge of an alleged 10-day notice for discourse.
I don't know about any publication. I have no issue with any publication.
You've never received the invite?
No, I have not, and I will not. Because I have no issues with that. That's not my concern. My concern is the national interest of the people. So that's my concern. And to ensure that our CIP program at last begins to benefit the people of St. Lucia, as you will see in the infrastructure that will happen because of the CIP program.
So do you think there's more mischief being propagated against the CIP?
What I think is happening is that there are people who are seeking trying to make political gain, trying to cause the economy of this country to go into a tailspin for their own political purposes.
According to the Prime Minister, individuals and groups are purposely seeding doubt in the CIP program in order to discredit the achievements of our government.
You've not heard from any source any issues with a CIP program. There's not one source. People are hoping that issues are falling for our CIP program. There's not been one issue of concern. Our due diligence is firm, our due diligence is intense, and our due diligence is being closely monitored, not only by solutions, but by international firms, by the JRCC, by the bank. So our system is working, and we intend to continue doing what we're doing. In fact, if we can strengthen it, we will strengthen it.
Prime Minister Pierre further expressed the relationship between St. Lucia and other islands, utilizing the Citizenship by Investment framework, in particular St. Lucia's decision to not sign the MOU agreement.
In all the discussions as it regards the memorandum of agreement, we were involved. The only thing we ask is to allow us some time, as has been allowed before in agreements, for us to complete some contractual agreements that we have. My job is to protect the national interest of the people of St. Lucia. We have no issues with anyone. We applaud the agreement, not the agreement. It's just, and you must make that clear. I've heard people say it's an agreement. There is no agreement. There is a MOA between the 5 countries in the CIP program, and St. Lucia has not signed as yet. We have no issues with any of the clauses in the agreement because we have no fight. The fight is in the minds of people who want to create confusion in St. Lucia. We have no fight with anyone. We were involved in all these discussions. We continue to be involved in discussions. To protect the national interest of the people of St. Lucia, I've asked for time for me to complete some contractual agreements. That's all.
Prime Minister Honorable Philip J. Pierre remains dedicated to St. Lucians, as he states the majority of CIP criticism stems from political bias and ulterior motives. As of now, our Prime Minister has no knowledge of any meeting invitation regarding U.S. attorneys and MSR media. For Choice News Now, this is Obi Offa reporting.
Thank you, Choice TV, for sharing that information with us, and I have nothing else to say on that. Ladies and gentlemen, Phillipsburg, St. Maarten, the members of the new Council of Ministers will be sworn in. Well, they say Friday, May 3rd. But we were getting a number of dates, and it will be the swearing in of the new government will be next week, the next week, the following week. Mind you, election was January the 11th. However, the governor listed the names of 5 candidate ministers as well as the minister and deputy minister plenipotentiary in a press release issued on Wednesday. The name of candidate for the Minister of Education, Culture, Youth and Sports, Christophe Emmanuel, and candidate for Brommy, Minister Radon Peterson's name did not appear on the list and hence will not be sworn in. Governor Bailey said in the release that on April 23rd, according to the Daily Herald, he received the updated final report from formator Dr. Luke Marcelina. The release said the formator accepted the commission to form a new government which has the support of a majority in Parliament comprised of the fractions of the URSM, PFP, DP, and NOW. He said candidates for the various portfolios have been vetted based on the pertinent regulations regulating the pre-screening of candidates before nomination and the faithful application of these norms, as has been the standing and official practice since the achievement of country status by St. Maarten in 2020. Marcelina will be appointed as the Prime Minister and Minister of General Affairs, Veronica Jansen-Webster as the Minister of Public Health, Social Development, Labour, VSR, and she'll also be the Acting Minister of Public Housing, Environment and Infrastructure, Lyndon Lewis as Minister of Justice and Acting Minister of Education, Culture, Youth and Sports, Marinka Gums as Minister of Finance, Grisha Heliga Maarten as Minister of Tourism, Economic Affairs, Transport and Telecommunication, Patrice T. Gums as Minister Plenipotentiary, and Gracita Arundel as Acting Minister Plenipotentiary. The release said that the governor has scheduled the appointment and the swearing in of the ministers on Friday, May 3rd at 10 a.m. at the governor's office there on the island of St. Maarten. As we wrap up today's news, that the Antigua-based airline Liat 2020 Limited is one step closer to taking the regional skies after it received its two-jet aircraft. The two jets touched down on the Antigua's Vicibird International Airport within minutes of each other on Tuesday afternoon. Both received a water cannon salute, traditionally used to celebrate milestones in aviation. Antigua and Barbuda's Prime Minister, Gaston Brown, led a small team on board to inspect the aircraft's interior before a short welcome ceremony was held on the tarmac. So, I continue to say to you, within about 2 weeks, Liat will be back in the air, and they're looking to have Liat 128-seater aircraft provided by Air Peace, and that could potentially be used on an Antigua-Miami route. Now, I have so much more news this morning. I had 2 more news items, but I think I'm going to wait until tomorrow morning to update you on those news reporting. We are already moving past almost 20 past the hour of 6 o'clock, and I think that's enough news for one day. Well, for one morning. You will have more news throughout the day, I am sure. The news, of course, was sponsored by Carl & Sons on St. Maarten, Feezes on Nevis, and of course, Delta Petroleum. Ladies and gentlemen, do join me again tomorrow morning, God's willing, at 6 o'clock Atlantic Standard Time for a similar presentation. Have yourselves a wonderful day. God bless. I am Mervyn Hanley.
Carl & Sons have been serving the people of St. Maarten for over 40 years. And the food and service get better and better. From early morning, customers flock to the bakery for their favorite sandwiches, cakes, pastries, you name it. First thing at mornings and last thing at afternoons, folks rush to Carl & Sons for simply the best. There are 2 locations, Coal Bay and on the Pondville. In Coal Bay, the opening hours are Monday to Friday from 6 a.m. to 6 p.m. On Saturdays, 6 a.m. to 5 p.m. And on Sundays, 6:30 a.m. to 10:30 a.m. and 2 p.m. to 5 p.m. Opening hours on the Pondville, Monday to Friday, 6:30 a.m. to 6 p.m. Saturday and Sunday, 6:30 a.m. to 1 p.m. We also cater for weddings, parties, special events, whatever the occasion. It's Carl & Sons. Our staff, we are always happy to serve you. Call us today, the Coal Bay location, 721-544-2462. That's 721-544-2462. Or in Phillipsburg, 721-543-1059. That's 721-543-1059. It's Carl & Sons Bakery. We are here to serve you. Nevis, satisfy your sweet tooth at Feezes, the coziest spot in Charlestown, known for its mouth-watering ice cream and dal parade. We are open Monday to Saturday, 8 a.m. to 5 p.m. Come in and sample our patties, sandwiches, air-fried wings with fries, hot dogs, rotis, and now our famous smoothies, in all flavors of course. And don't forget to try the famous bus-up shut and saltfish. It's Feezes, located at the entrance to the Cotton Ginnery Mall in Charlestown, Nevis. They're also available by phone, so place your order by calling 1-869-665-2458. Don't ask about the rest, just try the best.